Roger, you and I have had many conversations like this in which I am a brand newbie to this. I do not have TikTok on my phone. I don't know how one TikToks, and I don't understand much of this stuff. And now all we talk about is AI. And as you know, I'm also a newbie at that. So help me out here. Talk to me about this ban in TikTok.
So, Ali, the issue here is that the federal government has done absolutely nothing to protect Americans from the harm being done by internet platforms. You and I have been talking about this since 2017. Facebook had a profound effect on the 2016 election. And all internet platforms have done massive harm to public health during the pandemic and to our politics and to just about every aspect of our lives. And TikTok is the latest big deal here. And because it's owned by the Chinese, it's politically attractive to attack them. They are, however, quite a lot smaller than Facebook in the United States, a lot smaller than Instagram, a lot smaller than YouTube, all of which do exactly the same kind of harm and collect a lot more data. The Chinese are able to buy data on every single American from Oracle. So the issue here is Gianforte is trying to body slam TikTok in order to get some kind of political gain. But he's not wrong that this is harmful. And he's also not wrong that states do need to act because the feds have not done their job.
Is there a job to do? Because you and I have sat and, generally speaking, watched a lot of these congressional hearings on technology and phones and Twitter and all this stuff. And sometimes the people who are there to testify are amazing and brilliant and have lots of good information, but they get stupid questions because we're not really up to speed on how we're supposed to regulate technology.
Well, let's be clear. Internet platforms are the source of most of the fundraising dollars that come into candidates these days. It is the way that candidates communicate with the electorate. So as a consequence, there is no incentive right now for any politician to get on the wrong side of an internet platform. They fear that the internet platform can put its thumb on the scale and put the politician out of office. That fear is preventing any kind of action in Washington. You've seen in Illinois a law to protect people from facial recognition. You've seen in California a law to protect the citizens on data privacy. The thing that's going on with Gianforte is a joke because it is not possible for the state of Montana to implement this. It is, however, absolutely the right thing to call attention to parents that their children are using a platform that is causing great harm, and they shouldn't be doing that. And we've got to somehow change the culture so we stop accepting what technology companies tell us about their products and stop using them just because they're fun.
Now, let's say we stop using them. There's a woman who's suing Google right now, not that she was using a platform. She claims that she was filling out a form having to do with Planned Parenthood or a scheduling application that's actually, I don't know, powered by or run by the back office is Google, and that Google has access to that information. Now, you have given me some version of this story for years, that it may not be the email provider you use or the social media site you're on, but these companies, including Google, have lots of data on you that you may not even know about yourself, but they certainly have that data, and there's no law as to how there aren't many laws as to how they're supposed to handle that.
Well, in the United States, we've taken the position that corporations are allowed to collect data any way they can get it, and they're allowed to claim ownership of any data that they touch. And as a result, companies like Google have built their entire business model on capturing data and then either exploiting it themselves or, in other companies' cases, selling it to third parties. And that behavior has put all of us at great risk. You sit there and think to yourself, well, hey, I don't use Google, therefore I'm safe. But that's not how it worked. This woman did not have a relationship with Google. She had a relationship with Planned Parenthood. And because Planned Parenthood had a relationship with Google, the data went to Google. And Google is claiming that that amounts to consent by the woman. This is a really important case because there's no reason why Google should have the rights to that data. They certainly shouldn't be able to monetize it. And the courts have done a terrible job for citizens. Essentially, you know, we treat corporations as people too. It's time to treat people as corporations, to give people the same kind of power we give corporations to protect themselves in court and in the law.
Yeah, when Mitt Romney said corporations are people, what would have been better to say is that if people only had the protections that corporations do in some cases, we'd be better. Roger, we run out of time to talk about AI, but let's just, you and I have a standing invitation. You're going to come back.
It's just the whole thing is spin. It is all phony.